When you are proofreading, I want to encourage you to befriend your IT. Due to obviously controversies and conversations about generative AI like ChatGPT and other programs that are emerging, some students have become scared to use any form of technological assist when they're writing. That said, spell check and grammar check have been just typical and embedded parts of word processors for decades now. And generally, these tools that help to highlight little technical issues in our prose aren't considered to be unfair, and they aren't considered to be academically dishonest. What I would suggest is that you make your settings in Word or your word processor not automatically correct things, but instead you go through at the end and turn on Editor and go through its suggestions one by one to reflect on them and see if it's a change that you think you want to make, and also why it's suggesting the change. So equipping Editor can be a good way to learn about maybe some of our habits so that when we draft things in the future, we're not making those mistakes, or we're doing things a little more crisply. So when you turn on Editor, it gives you a score, which is fine, but will tell you things about your spelling, your grammar, and it's also evolved to give you some guidance on clarity, conciseness, formality, punctuation conventions, things like that. Once we equip the editor, we can go through and individually see what it is suggesting about what we've written. Let's see what it's suggesting here. So we click it again to view a suggestion. This explanation aligns with the scholarly consensus that belief is a precondition for visual auditory. So it's telling me a comma before the and could make this clearer. And I'm a fan of this penultimate comma, so I'm going to go with that. Different style guides feel differently about that. But let's say we're in a style guide where it wants you to use the final comma in a list. Note that it didn't catch that I wanted this to say belief is a precondition. Okay, but it did give me this good point about changing hypothesis singular. So it says check whether the noun should be singular or plural. So it actually, again, it doesn't just say change this, it's telling me, oh right, I did want the plural. So let me do that. But again, what this hasn't done for us, it hasn't told me that maybe saying significantly and then significant, or decreased and then decrease, hasn't flagged that that's a bit redundant and maybe I could vary my vocabulary some. Now that being said, it did catch some of these smaller issues for me. So if commas, if maybe putting in the wrong word or the wrong verb agreement, so especially if you struggle with kind of how noun-verb conjugations look together, this can save you time and it's a good idea. And again, depending on what state your writing is in, you're going to see lots of suggestions along different lines to see how you can make things more formal. It's saying maybe in formal writing you don't want to use a contraction here. So if I agree, and I think my module lead would like me to be more formal, I could change that to an is not. This is acceptable even if it doesn't demonstrate. I could change that to does not. Personally, I'm fine with contractions, but maybe you disagree with that. But again, you don't want to trust everything your computer tells you to do. I think one of the funniest things that I have seen a computer do was I was looking at a chemistry essay with a student, and they had their computer set to just automatically correct spelling errors when it detected them. And many times throughout the essay, the student had tried to type the word nucleus. So they tried to type nucleus, but I think they had inverted the U and the N so that it said like uncleus, and then Word decided that what they wanted to say was uncles. So this chemistry essay was just talking with weird frequency about uncles. I'd say don't let your computer automatically change anything for you. Fold this in and let this be kind of a supplementary part of your proofreading.